Hi, my name is Rumbidzai Audrey Mudzengi. I'm 27 years old and I am originally from Zimbabwe. I've been in Australia for about 12 years now, 11 years. I think I'm going on to my 12th year. Yeah, that's basically who I am.
Now, we are familiar with each other, but for those who are seeing you for the first time, would you mind just telling us a little bit more about yourself?
Cool. So basically, in terms of what I do, I'm a makeup artist. I've owned a makeup business for about 5 years now. Mainly specialize in bridal makeup and fashion shows. I also work as a stylist, but I don't do that quite a lot because I'm still building myself up. So that's what I do as a business. I also have a second business we just started this year. It's a personal and professional development business for young entrepreneurs.
Wow.
It's going to be doing a lot more next year, so everything is sort of in preparation this year. But currently what we do though is we run an entrepreneurs meetup. It happens almost every two months. On the side, I also do a bit of mental health work. So currently, I've just finished my mental health first aid. So now I'm a mental health first responder.
Wow.
And I'm also a speaker. So that's pretty cool. I quite enjoy doing that. I've done quite a lot of things this year.
You have. Honestly, I've been keeping up because I see your social media and I'm like, whoa, I just saw you doing this. And next minute, I'm seeing you like doing Roots TV. I'm like, wait a minute, I can't keep up. How do you juggle everything together?
You know what? I think it was just this year. I think that with everything that happened in 2018, I gave myself permission this year to fail.
Yes.
That's what I call it. I gave myself permission to fail. What that basically meant or means is that I gave myself a chance to try everything out. I think growing up, I always had like multi-interests, or I thought I had talents, but we don't come from a culture that celebrates that. We come from a culture where it's like be good at one thing.
Pick one thing and
pick one thing and you stick to that. So then my whole life I always felt like I was getting pulled in different directions, but because I was constantly seeking that one thing, I was basically ignoring all my other interests and not investing in them. So the beginning of this year, I took time off from work and I said, well, you're going to have a year off work, so you need to start doing things. And I just said to myself, look, I'm going to try anything that I want to do. So I went back to writing, I went back to creative styling, I went back to trying to start another business, I went to speaking. So yeah, I've just done a few different things and I manage them because you've got 24 hours.
Exactly. No, I love the fact that you said you had to allow yourself to fail.
Yeah.
Because I do think that, especially within our cultures, there are a lot of people who want to dip their hands in so many different things, but there is that fear of I don't know where this is gonna go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like maybe I just need to focus on trying to be a lawyer and just do that. You know what I mean? So I love the fact that you said, and I think because I was gonna ask you like, how did you get there? But the fact that you just said I had to allow myself to fail. I think that's a good message that a lot of young people can take. Is that, you know what, when you are looking at the things that you want to achieve, no matter how many there are, just don't put that pressure on yourself being like, am I going to succeed?
Exactly.
Just say, you know what, as long as I have that passion, I'm going to allow myself, you know what, nothing is predictable. You can go for something, you can either win or you can either lose. No one knows for sure how something is going to go, but when you walk in with the mentality of, I'm not really expecting a lot.
Yes.
I'm just going to give it my all.
Trying it out.
Exactly. And then whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, because how many people go to uni and then you study for 3 years and then you're like, what the hell was this? So it's okay. Like, it's okay for you to go. And I think that was always my thing as well, that most people, well, for me anyway, so I'm going to speak about me because I don't want to use other people as examples.
Yeah.
With uni, I constantly struggled because I was like, I wanted that one degree that I would do and know for certain, like, I've done this and that's going to be it. And it's like, no, it's okay for you to go into uni, study a degree for 3 years, graduate, and then be like, you know what, I actually don't want to use it. Because you cannot take away the lessons, the experience, the growth from those 3 years.
Yeah.
Same thing with business, same thing with trying out like a podcast, a blog, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do, just go ahead and do it. And have the mindset, like I said, I had to actually talk to myself because I was constantly scared of failure. And because I was so scared of failure, I would rather not try things out and just be like, well, I don't care about that, so I'm not going to try it out.
You choose comfort. You choose comfort. Whatever is comfortable for you.
Exactly. And what do you get? You know, what do you get out of that? Nothing. You go for years and years and you haven't really done much with your life.
Yeah.
And the worst part of it is because it's self-betrayal, you turn against yourself. And that's why, you know, a lot of us become so angry with ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's because you're not allowing yourself to experience life the way that you should be.
Yeah.
So I guess that was just me. That was just sort of my own goal this year.
Yeah.
I was looking at my vision board yesterday, and honestly, like, everything that I wrote on my vision board that I said I wanted to do, I've done it, except traveling internationally.
Yeah.
But still, I've traveled within Australia a lot more this year than I've ever done in any of the other years. So
Tell me more about your vision board.
So I started doing vision boards like 2-3 years ago. I saw it on YouTube or Instagram, I can't remember, and you know, this person just spoke about the power of putting something like in a frame, pretty much, like putting all your goals and your ideas in front of you and then having it. So I did, my first vision board was in 2017, but then I also ran vision board workshops. So I've got one coming up in January next year. So last year when we did one, this time around I changed the way that I wrote about my visions. So usually I would write things like travel more, and then that's it, or I would put save more and that's it. But then last year what I actually did was I broke down my vision. So for example, with traveling, I said I would like to travel more. However, I would love to travel at least once internationally, but if I can't, I want to travel around Australia. So I made it more not so about traveling internationally, but traveling in general. And traveling could literally mean driving 2 hours down to a place that you've never gone to in the same city as you live. Like, that's traveling. So that was one of the things that I changed. I want to write a book. I've always said I wanted to write a book. Instead of me saying, oh yeah, I need to write a book by this day, I basically say, do you need to start writing?
Stages.
So that became so you put like smaller, obviously you've got your big goals, but you put smaller goals onto your vision board. That way it's so much easier to remind yourself to do it. So that was the vision board idea.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Now I just want to ask you, what does makeup mean to you? What got you into makeup?
To be honest, I don't know, because I used to be a tomboy. Like,
that's interesting.
If you ask people from Canberra,
they're like, how did you go from there to now being like a beauty guru? What?
Like, sis, what happened? I used to be a proper tomboy, like sneakers, never wore dresses, didn't even really wear like skinny jeans. I used to wear trackies most of the time, like baggy t-shirts and stuff like that. And I don't know, I turned 18, I was kind of in a relationship.
Okay.
So you know how it goes when you're in a relationship, you start changing a little bit.
You do. You do. And it's true. I found myself doing things I never did. I'm like, sis, come back.
You're like,
come back. I'm out here trying to fix my eyebrows. I'm like, what?
Who are you? So yeah, that's what happened. I started kind of changing. Like when I turned 18, I was in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I started wearing, but I think at the same time, like my not personality, but my interest, like my my style was changing. Like it was when Tumblr was just starting to pop up as well.
Yeah.
So I really like fell into my own style, and then from then I just fell into makeup as well the same way. And then people just would give me compliments about my makeup.
No, you're great at it. I'll tell you that. Like I've been, when I came to help you with the assistance for your singing, that was. Girl, I was like, wow. Even though, like, I was a bit, like, because I was nervous. When you're like, come sit on the table and learn. Because I really, honestly, I've always hated makeup. I'm one of those people that I was a tomboy as well growing up. And to my mom, I was like, Brenda, you're a girl. You need to attract boys. Put some makeup on. Wear a dress. And I was like, Mom, I need sneakers. Like, I'm good. I'm not doing that. And like, I just never really was like a makeup person. But like when I see you do your stuff, it makes me want to like wear makeup because I see like just how good at it you are. But then I just don't have patience.
Thank you. Oh yeah, I know. I was the same.
Patience.
I was the same. But I think for me, what changed was I liked the way makeup made me feel.
Yeah.
You know when people are like, when people complain about people not looking the same when they've got makeup on, I'm like, bruh, that's the whole point.
Make
up. I'm making myself up. Like,
exactly.
What do you not get about the word? Like, literally, every time when people say that, I'm like, you realize, like, I'm spending almost like $250 plus for this face.
Yeah.
So you want me to look the same as I look when I get up. But that's what made me, like, you know, have patience with makeup. I think what makes makeup probably not as, you know, fun to learn is that you're having to sit on YouTube and watch how somebody else is doing makeup according to their style, according to their face, and feeling like you have to do it the same way. Whereas if you sort of tune out YouTube, you tune out the makeup gurus or whatever, and you actually learn to do makeup by yourself, like as a fun thing, you will find your own style, and then out of that, you will actually develop your love for or interest anyway for makeup. So I think that's what made the difference. That I just used to sit at home with like my makeup from Kmart. Yeah. Like, you know, those little quads from makeup
you
from
gotta
Kmart.
Start small. You gotta start small
like
from somewhere, really.
Yeah, you know, and I'd use those. And back then, like, I remember I didn't even do like baking or highlighting or whatever. It was literally like eyeshadow, mascara, do my lashes, put on foundation, put on lipstick, and I'm out. Yeah. But that was fun because I was sort of developing my own style of makeup. So, yeah.
And it's so fun to, like, I'm not good at makeup, but like me just sitting down, watching people transform their faces.
Yeah, I love
my God, I can sit there, literally get my snacks.
Yeah.
Just instead of watching a movie, I'm sitting there being like, whoo.
Yeah, you're like.
And the thing I hate though is that I watch it, and I think, okay, I've picked up some things. Then I try to get my stuff.
Nah, don't do that.
It just never works.
Do that. If you want to learn how to do makeup, it's literally like, I don't know, that's just my way. And I tell everyone this. If you want to learn how to do makeup, stop watching YouTube videos to learn how to do makeup. Because how I'm doing makeup is according to my style, what colors suit me, and my face structure, like the structure of my face. Right. So if you're going to try to do your makeup according to me, what looks good on me
is going to look different.
What look nice on you. So if you want to learn how to do your makeup really well, you need to stop watching YouTube videos. You need to get in front of a mirror and you just figure out your face. Because that's what it is. There are literally times like where I don't do, so when I started doing makeup, you know, and I was watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, I used to do like those Instagram brows, like heavy, like wow. You know, and
I need those pictures.
Oh, no, we do it different.
I need those pictures.
And I would literally like, you know, and I'll think, yes, like this is it, this is slaying. Yeah. And I'll look at my face and I'm like, that don't look,
that ain't it, sis.
Right? So now I don't even do my eyebrows the same way that I used to do them like 3-4 years ago. Just because I've now settled into what looks nice on my eyebrows.
You,
Yeah. And I do that, like obviously not today. Yeah. But when I'm doing my makeup properly, I do them according to what looks nice on me. Yeah. Not what I would do on another person or what looks on another person. Yeah.
You have been very outspoken. Yeah. Like you already mentioned that you're an advocate, you know, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to social issues. And you've been very outspoken about, like, you know, your own personal experiences. And even when I follow your Facebook account, you're very, again, outspoken. You're very vulnerable on social media, talking about, you know, your experiences dealing with either depression or anxiety or whatever that you deal with. Can you just elaborate more on your experience as far as like maybe depression? Because I think mental health is a topic that we've been trying to, you know, really bring to light, especially among the youth. Because I think that we're losing a lot of people. Because a lot of people are dealing with things mentally and they're really facing these challenges, and yet, you know, there's not that space that is like an open space for people, especially men. There's not that open space for people to really talk about what they're struggling with. And you've always been, you know, able to voice yourself through social media and through, like, you know, some of the events that you hold as well, where you have an open space for male and female to sit around of all ages and just talk about what they've been through. So if you wouldn't mind just elaborating on your experience with depression and what got you involved in being, you know, an advocate for it.
Well, my experience, I've had depression for a very long time. I think that's something that people don't realize because people are like, oh, well, it only came. And I'm like, no. I've been looking, like, I actually posted about this a couple weeks ago when I saw a post that I wrote on Facebook in 2008. And I was like, shit, depression was
It was heavy.
the struggle was hard. It was
Yeah.
real at that time.
Yeah.
So I've had depression for a very long time, but I think obviously my personality, the culture that I was brought up in, the family that I was brought up in, it was something that I never spoke about. I just used to think I was a sad girl. Like, I just used to think I was screwed up, and that was my thing for so long. I used to just say I was screwed up. So I think most of my life I was waiting to be saved. At the start, it was by a man, and then at some point we realized men can't actually save you, contrary to what you get told. But in 2018, it got really bad because I had a lot of pressures in my life. I was going through a really bad breakup from a marriage. I started a business with a friend that didn't work out. I did something else that didn't work out. I had a friend not give me money that they were supposed to give me, and I'd been working for them for almost like 3 years, and I'd not been paid for 2 years. So there were so many things going on, and also part of that was I had gotten to a point in my life where I was becoming aware of the effects of my childhood. So I was doing a lot of like researching on depression, childhood trauma, and stuff like that. But I think sometimes when you do that unassisted, it can actually have the reverse effects. So instead of it making you better and more understanding, it can actually make you more sad. And I think that's what was happening. And also I'd moved out of home, so I was very lonely. I'm a very, unfortunately, people think it's me being up myself, but I'm a loner, and I got so used to being alone that, when I moved out, I was mostly by myself. I was overworking. I was constantly tired. I was just in a really bad space in 2018. And then in April 2018, I started having suicidal ideation. Wasn't my first experience of it. I've had that when I was about 12. When I was about 19 as well, when I was living by myself in Sydney. I had suicidal ideation from like April, and then around August, it became very, very real. Like, it was now actually sitting down and Googling and trying to come up with a plan. And then I started self-harming. So I was cutting, I've got like, scars all over my arms. And I settled into that. I settled into the routine of when things would get bad, I would just get a razor and cut, because unfortunately the reality of it is it actually relieves the pain in that moment. And then I guess 2 days after my birthday party, I just decided I'd had enough. Like, I was just done. So I tried committing suicide, and lucky for me, my friend intervened. She called, or I called, I can't remember exactly, while the medication was working. I didn't say anything to her, but she figured it out. She called one of my friends, and my friend basically said to her, look, I saw her the other day. She was in a really bad state, so maybe this is serious. We need to call the police. They rang up the police, and the police came, got unconscious, went to the hospital, and then ended up getting into a mental ward. I was in a mental ward for 2 months. That was crazy. That was hectic. And I think when I came out of that, I used to go to a certain church, as you do, and already I knew what was coming up. I knew people were going to be talking. I'd already had visitors, and I could tell the focus, I could tell what was coming by. And I think because for the past 2 years, I felt like almost every mistake that I'd made in my life was just publicized somehow, like one way or the other. For the past 2 years, like every little thing. I'm a public but private person. Like, I think I've always been. I don't actually share myself a lot with people, like my private stuff. But for the past 2 years, everything that I did, from like my relationship issues to getting bullied online, like literally having people talk talking nonsense about me online. Like, it was a lot, you know, and I think I knew that it was coming. So I think for me, it was like, you know what, I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's the real reason to why I put it out the first time. So I remember just putting it out, and I was like, you know what, this is what has been happening to me. This is what's going on. And what came out of that was very strange, because people, like, literally all my things were blowing up. And what made me so sad was, it wasn't blowing up with people just saying, oh my God, we're so sorry for you. Like, never heard of this happening. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. Sorry. Almost everyone that reached out to me was like, oh my God, I am going through exactly the same thing right now. Or, oh my God, that was me 2 months ago. I had so many people that I would have never expected saying to me, I've been suicidal. I tried to kill myself. It didn't work. I did this. I'm actually in the middle of planning. And I went, what the hell?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
If half of the people feel like this, why are we not talking about it? Why are we waiting for somebody to die for us to, like, talk about it? Like, why?
To see how serious it is.
Yeah, like, it made me so angry, because I'm a very passionate person, and it made me very, like, it made me so angry, and it just made me feel like, and I had people younger than me, people like 4 years younger than me, saying, oh my God, Ruby, like, I'm literally going through this. Like, you know, okay, so how's the hospital? Should I check into the hospital? And I'm going, and I had nothing to give people at that time. So anyway, that started off my journey. You know, and people, I don't know, people just became interested in my story. A lot of my people started reaching out. I then started speaking, and, you know, I got together with a few friends. The interesting thing is, a year before that, a young person, not even a year actually, the month before I tried to commit suicide, a young person from Sydney had done that. And I remember being so heartbroken. I called my friend. I remember I was at work already when I got the news, and I actually left work early, and I was so heartbroken. And then I came back home, and I was so distraught about it. I reached out to a few friends, and I was like, look guys, I think we need to do something. We need to create a space for young people to talk about this. So we were in the plan of creating a space to help other people, and the people that I was working with did not know that I actually needed help, you know, because I wasn't showing it. And I think most people just would have never assumed that that's what I was going through. And we'll talk about it and stuff like that, but I never actually said this is what I'm experiencing. So when it finally happened and I came out of hospital, I just felt like I had a responsibility. When I got that reaction from a lot of people, I just felt like something had to be done. And I felt like, well, you know what, I've screwed up my life anyway. I don't have anything to lose at this point in my life. So if I have to be that person that people are like, ew, why does she talk about that? Then I'm happy to do that. So.
And I love how before you touched up on, you know, figuring out that there are things from your childhood that affect you as you grow up and as you become an adult. And me and you, we have had a conversation about, you know, molestation, about abuse, about rape. Are there certain things that happened to you as a child that you realized were affecting your mental health growing up as a woman?
Yeah, right. Being raped. People don't get that. I've had people be like, oh, but it happened when you were so young.
Do you remember what age it happened?
The first time I think it happened was when I was about 5. I think it stopped around maybe 8 or 9. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have clear memories because my brain shut that out. And because I've just refused, to be quite frank, I've refused to deal with that at this moment in therapy, because I just don't feel like I can handle what will come out of it. So I don't have clear memories, but I know I know like sort of the time frame.
When it usually happens when you're young, you do try to block that from your memory, because it's not something that is pleasing to always have the images of.
And your brain works really hard to protect you. So if you go through something as vile as that, chances are your brain is going to make a whole lot of other stuff up just to stop you from having to experience the consequences of going through something like that.
And even when you think about it, you know, opening that can of worms, you know that this is going to overwhelm me. So you know just the impact that pain has. So when you imagine kind of like, putting it out there, you just know how heavy it's going to be. So many times you're like, I don't have the energy for this right now. Like, no matter how older you get, there are things you just know, like, to start addressing that, you just know it's going to break you. Even though you have to do it eventually, because, you have to let that stuff kind of, get released. But you just know that, and I think some people don't understand that. People who haven't been through it, they don't understand that. They just think, like, come on, just talk about it and then get over it and move on.
You can't. Do you know how crazy this is? I was in a therapy session, I can't remember when, and we spoke about smells. So growing up, I used to get a strong sense of something, right? I was very quick on picking up smells, and I never understood what that was. I could get a smell of something and it would like screw me up entirely. Like I would get super emotional, I would get upset, like my whole mood, my whole body would change, and I never understood that until I was sitting in a therapy session. And that is forgetting the word for it, but that is a sign of trauma. When you smell something and it takes you back to a moment.
There's like a trigger. There are things that trigger you.
It's a trigger for you. I never knew that smell was a trigger. So when people go, but it happened when you were so young, just forgive. And I've had somebody say that to me, like, you just need to forgive. If you forgive, you'll be fine.
What does it mean? Like, what do you mean, just forgive? What does that mean?
And I'm like, just because I'm still experiencing this as well does not mean that I've forgiven. Oh, trust me, I have forgiven to my best ability.
It still hurts though. It doesn't mean it just goes away.
And there's still moments where I'm still reminded. Like I was talking to a friend of mine, and it was just recent actually. I don't know what I posted. It was when that whole TI thing was happening, and I was making a comment, and he was like, "Oh my God, you hate men," and I was like, "What do you mean I hate men? Like I don't." And he was like, "No, I'm telling you, I'm your friend. I'm telling you this from love." So we start talking about it, and then he just said to me, "You know what? I think it comes from what you experience." And I'm like, "You don't get." He's like, "Yeah, but I also feel like at this point you've met like nice people, nice men, whatever. You should be able to like."
I don't like people who like to tell you how you feel.
And I was like,
how you gonna tell me the way I think?
Exactly. And I was like, do you know, you make it sound so simple. It's really not that simple. I've gotten into an Uber because I never use public transport when I'm in Perth. I went away to Melbourne. This was like at the beginning of the year or something like that. I went away, got an Uber to the airport, and so I get into the Uber. I sit, like I close the door. I'm sitting right, and then my mind was just blank. Then 5 minutes into my Uber, right, I remembered that I didn't take a picture of the guy's, what's it called? The
number plate.
I didn't ask him for his name. I am sitting at the back of an Uber. This guy has done nothing to me. Probably was not even thinking about it. And I'm literally sitting there freaking out to the point where he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Then I called my friend and I had to like explain to her what was going on. But that's literally, and I didn't get in there. I was like, okay, right, we're gonna have a panic attack. That's literally what rape or going through trauma, and if it's not solved, that's literally what it does to you.
You mentioned that, when you were sharing with it, you said the first time. Were you raped multiple times? By the same person or by different? Oh.
Yeah.
Was it sorry, I'm just going to you. Was it family? Was it someone, relatives? All of them? Wow. Did you have anyone that you could tell or talk to? Parents? How was the dynamic with you and your parents?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know why. Once again, that's just the way that your brain deals with things. For me anyway, that's how it dealt. I never spoke to any of my parents. I never...
Did you feel like there wasn't a comfortable enough space to be able to voice yourself?
I don't think so. I don't know why I never spoke about it. I genuinely don't. I don't know if something had happened that made me feel like I couldn't tell my parents. I don't know.
I mean, the whole idea of rape is, it's silencing. It's very like,
and I genuinely do not know why I never told my parents. I just don't know. I haven't figured out that yet. But at that time, because I was so young, the only explanation that I've had come out of, I think the first time, what happened was so after everything had happened, the person, this is going to be graphic. Yes, if I cry, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The only thing that I do know is the first time that it happened. So the person left, like they had spread out newspapers on the toilet floor. Yeah. So the only thing that I remember from the first time is, so when we used to leave, like, okay, so back home you would have share houses, right? Like you'd have like a big compound. Someone would have like the boy sky, and then the main house would be 2 people. So I remember we used to live in the main house at that time. There were 2 kids that were going, I think they were like Form 1 or Form 2, or they were twins, I can't remember, and then their mom. So it was like a single mom that was living with us. So I remember the 2 kids coming back from school, and then one of them went to use the toilet, found the papers on the floor, and they screamed, like they went off at me. So I remember them going off at me because they thought I was the one who had spread them out so I could, poo on the floor. And I was quite young, so it would have been something that I guess like a little kid would have done or whatever. So they went off at me. And I remember one of them like slapping me or whatever. And then when Mum got back home, I remember that's what she was told that had happened. And then she went off at me, and then she made me like go take the papers and then like chuck them out or whatever. So that was the first experience. Now, post like years later, I in therapy, I realized that I have always had such an issue with my mom when she blames me for things that are not my fault. And I'm always used to react like in very like angry ways. Like it would be something so minor, but I would get so upset, like really upset. And I never used to understand that up until in therapy, like when they were able to make me join those 2. So the only thing that I can think to why I would have never said anything after that would have been that experience, because I was home alone or with a maid. No, we didn't have a maid back then, I don't think so. So I would have been home alone. Dad would have been at work, Mum at thingo. So I would have been home alone for that period of time where I came back from preschool, and then when the girls came. So that's probably the only reason why I didn't then go and tell my mum, because I remember as well, after they had told her and I'd cleaned up, she then spanked me or whatever. But she was spanking me because she thought I was trying to poo on the floor or whatever. So to me anyway, that's like my current understanding of why I probably would have not said anything. So yeah.
Do you remember the other times?
That's so good.
You're strong. You're really strong.
Wow, I was expecting to like boil. Sorry.
Do you remember the other times? What happened then?
There's one particular one that I remember because I tried to confront it, and the confrontation did not go well. And I tried to confront it in 2016 or 2017. I think it was 2017 when I tried to confront it, and it was a cousin. Yeah, female cousin. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I remember confronting that, and that's part of the reason why I think even up until now, I still hold back trying to deal with that, because there's so much, like, it's a can of worms. Once you open it, then other things have to happen, and I feel like I'm not ready to be like name the people and then to have those conversations, or to potentially name the people and not have to have any conversations at all, because I feel like that would be damaging to me. And I think that's been one of the most damaging things in my life, to the idea that it's okay for bad things to happen to me and I don't have to speak up. That's really been a damaging series of experiences in my life. So and
I'm realizing that female on female molestation is something that is actually very common.
It is
in Africa, in Zim.
It is,
but just no one says anything. Because, and what I hate is the fact that people think that when a woman molests another woman, it doesn't really count as rape because there's no penetration.
And for them, the worst thing to happen to a female child in an African home is to be penetrated by a man who has not paid anything. So if you are raped by your cousin, sis, sit down and keep quiet. There was no penetration. You're still fine. We can still sell you off. There's no damage.
Exactly.
You'll get married. It's okay.
But they don't understand that there are mental things that come with it. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because it's like there was a documentary that I was watching of these girls, like, they were dykes, they were gay, and a lot of them were molested by women. It had that mental impact in someone, because you find yourself now questioning, am I gay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I attracted to women?
Yeah. And it's like, was there something in me? Because that was always my thing, and that led to a lot of people think I'm joking when I say I used to still have low self-esteem. Like, that's something that I still struggle with. I don't look like it, but that's something that I heavily struggle with.
Yeah.
The idea that I was worthy. My thing was, from a young age, I then had this sense of there is something wrong with me.
Yeah.
Something that people keep
for all
on
this
seeing
stuff to
in
keep
me.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, and you know what, I've been having a lot of these like conversations lately. We were just talking about like a simple statement like growing up, I used to be told all the time. I'm gonna have to say this in Shona and then try to translate it.
Yeah.
Women used to say all the time, ukaona nunzi ishimara panyama. Nyama yo yakaora. Ukaona nunzi ishimara pachinu chakasvipa nditi. Ukaona vakomana vachinyanya kuuya kwauri kuzokuask out, it means there's something wrong with you. So between like 14 to like 17, I used to get asked out a lot. Boy, did I run. Like, did I run? I hated being asked out. Like, it was the worst. And up until today, I struggle having male to female relationships in terms of like, even when they're platonic, like nothing at all. Just being friends with a guy, I'm constantly like, Asha, are they gonna? No, but they can't. Because in my head, number one, that then emphasized the point that, okay, if any guy comes to you, it means they've seen something, and then they're going to take that thing because, you know,
or like they've seen your weakness.
Yeah, they've seen your weakness. Yeah. So I worked so hard on being a strong female, on you are not going to get me. You will spend a year asking me out, and now you will still not even get a kiss. And because that was also celebrated in our culture, a lot of like my first like, you know, young relationships where you're supposed to develop, you know, your characteristic or whatever, I spent most of them making guys chase me, and that became a thing. And then I got into my late 20s and it was still a thing. And you're like, oh, why do all my relationships not work out? And it's like, well, because you never go for something that you like. You go for the people that chase after you for the longest. That's who you pick because that's safer. Because that's what you were taught to relate to. That's the only indication to you that you're worthy. So if a guy was to come up to me and be like, oh my God, I like you. Oh wow, man, I really like you. And in 2 weeks they'd be like, man, I really like you. I want to be with you. I'd be like, you're lying. You are lying. You are lying. Like there's something that you saw in me that you feel like I'm easy. I am not easy, you know, and that really screws up your ideologies about relationship. That screws up how you make, even to a point where I felt like for the most part of my relationships, I used to try so hard to be like a what's it called, wifey material, to the point where I would not do things that I wanted to do simply because I want the guy to feel like, hi, yes,
I wanted to chat,
and now I'm like, hell no. You know, now I'm gonna be who I am. Like, and people, you know, and that's how whenever I'm talking about this, I'm like, you need to be able to understand how your childhood affects you, and how you've developed schemas because of what you experienced in your childhood. Because a lot of the times, if you were to line up our childhood here, line up who we are here, who we are with, you would not be with that person. You would not be with that person because you're choosing them, trying to refix what happened in your childhood until you have an understanding of your childhood and how it affects you.
Have you been back home in any time recently?
I went back home. Yeah, I've been back home twice since I came to Australia.
Now, have you been in... No.
Funny enough, I never realized this until recently, because this year has been like a wide awakening year. Every time I used to go back home, actually ever since I was young, so I think post what had happened, I never used to like to go to a certain side of my family. Out of respect, I'm not going to say which side. A certain side of my family. Never used to like going. And then now I realize, oh, that's where it came from. That's where it came from. So every time that I've gone back home, I've only hung out with certain people, and then when certain people are like, cool, why don't you, and that's what led me to confronting one of them, because they were like,
you confronted one of them?
One of them, but it didn't go well. So this was in 2017, before everything happened. and I had just left home in 2016, and they're like, just because you went to Australia. And I was like, really? You don't see why I wouldn't want to come to your house? They're like, why? And I was like, do you not remember you coming back from your holidays at your school and coming back and doing A, B, C, and D? And they're like, hey. They refused.
I hate that.
They even spoke the word of God. Even told me, could God bless you? May He help you to find forgiveness. And I was like, bruh.
I hate when people act like they got dementia. Like, they just don't remember what happened.
And that's the worst thing. That is so damaging as well.
So, you haven't met some of the people when you've gone back home?
No, I haven't.
Do you think that you're ready to confront them if you were to?
I don't think I ever want to do that.
Yes.
It's family, so it just causes a lot of issues. So at this point, I think I'm fine.
Like when you're young, you focus on things such as, I don't want to bring any drama to the family.
Yeah.
I don't want to cause any commotion. Yeah. So then you hold those things back because you're like, you know what? Confronting it or exposing those people, especially people who are so much in the habit of denying things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then everybody's looking at you like you're crazy, like a goal to just destroy the whole family.
Listen to you anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. And they know that, especially, and I think that's why people do things to kids when they're younger, because no one would ever trust your word over that of a 35-year-old or 40-year-old. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that sucks the most, is the fact that you are suffering because what you're saying, that, you know what, it's family.
Yeah.
I don't want to cause drama.
Yeah, no.
But then it's like you suffer at the expense of trying to hold your family together. And the thing that I don't like about that is that, you're gonna have younger, nephews and nieces and whatever, and you don't know that same person is repeating the exact same thing to
and
the
that's
youngest.
The worst part, because then people don't seem to want to confront that, because if it happened to one person, what are the chances that it actually happened to different people in that family? But no one wants to face that. No one wants to have to deal with that. And I think it's such, like I said before, it's such a terrible thing to teach a young child, that injustices can be done to you and nothing will be done. Because that teaches you to continuously allow people to mishandle you, to do things to you, and let them go away scot-free. And the thing is,
innocence.
And when somebody has done such a huge thing, everything else is so small. Everything else is so minor that you will never, like a child who goes through something like that will not stand up when they're being bullied, will not stand up when somebody tries to kiss them, because compared to that, if I didn't report that, why should I report anything else? So you end up like, especially for women or even men sometimes, you end up in, I've had a lot, and that's the unfortunate thing as well, this year I've had a lot of male acquaintances or friends opening up to me that they went through the same stuff, and they never spoke about it. And then you see these men being in relationships where they date women that treat them so badly, and they never leave, and you're going, what in the world is wrong with you? Where do you think that came from? Where do you think they learned that? Where? They learned that somewhere, and at no point did anyone ever teach them that, you know what, this is actually not okay. You see a lot of girls being in relationships with people that treat them like crap, and you're like, yes, are you mad? Where do you think they learned that? If somebody violated me at a young child,
it opens a door for everybody else.
And if I did not see them being arrested or suffering some kind of a consequence, if I didn't see anyone taking care of me after that had happened, what I'm being taught is that anything can happen to me and I can handle it. I've typically, like, everyone will say, well, not everyone, sorry, but most people who know me will always say this about me: you're so strong. You can go through anything and you handle it well. And I'm like,
that's not
it's not a good thing. You realize I'm only this way because I've had to learn to be this way. Like, I've had to go through things and handle them by myself. It's not a good thing. It's not an admirable thing for me to be able to go through pretty much anything in life and handle it. I shouldn't. I shouldn't be handling everything by myself. But that's what I learned. That's what I've had to learn. When every time something like this happened, and I had to learn to clean myself up or whatever it is that I had to learn to do by myself. And now I've pretty much carried that on into adulthood, that there is nothing. I used to be bothered by the fact that there is nothing that you can do to me that will make me hate you. There are very few people in this world that I hate. You can go parade my name, do whatever you want to me. I will find a million reasons to forgive you and be cool with you again.
Yeah.
And that used to bug me up until I was like, what is it? Like, why are you like that? Because I've always had to self-sacrifice.
Yeah. And even especially like after you've been raped, you can't do anything, especially with the person that's done it to you. You can't do anything that makes it obvious. So, like, even when it's happening, you still have to, around
pretend
people,
like it didn't happen.
Act like you like them.
You have to see, if it's a family member, you have to see them on Christmas.
Yeah.
You have to see them at funerals.
And you have to
You're still have going to be nice to them.
Yeah.
You're still have going to be nice to their family. You still have to, if they get married, you're still going to have to go to their wedding.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? You're still going to have to act right.
And then with all this, the secret is still there, and you don't know how to like voice it up and expose it.
It's a terrible thing. Like I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And I think I wish society understood the effects a bit more. Even intimacy.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, that's a major.
You know?
Yeah.
Even that. Even trying to have intimacy to whatever level, like whether sexual, romantic, or whatever, just connection, that affects you. Like, you know, imagine being young or whatever, being whatever age, having sex and then freaking out after you've had sex, and you're like, what's wrong with me? Why am I freaking out? Why am I crying?
Yeah.
You know, imagine not being able to enjoy you know, that just because, you know, every time that happens, your body literally gets reminded of that. Like, it just, there's so many elements to what it affects that we often need to not talk about that, and we don't give enough help to people when it comes to that.
Well, I'm very grateful that you showed up. Thank you so much for joining us and talking to us today. And I just want to ask, where can people find you if they want to keep up with what you got going on next? Do you have any new projects that you're working on that maybe you want people to keep their eyes out and their ears out for? And also, where can they follow you on social media to keep up with you?
We're going to have a website, so our website should be launching in 2 months. So once that comes up, then you can pretty much go to our website and see all the projects that I'm going to be working on. Currently, our next project, next event is the Vision Board Workshop that's coming up in January. I'll give you the details so you can share. But yeah, that's going to be our first one. In terms of the workshops that we're going to be having next year, they're mostly going to be around business and self-development. So if you're interested in starting your own business, your own side hustle, I am so pro people starting side hustles and getting paid for the things that they're good at. So we're going to be doing a lot of workshops around that, so you can see that on our website.